In this video, we're going to show you how to set up your CRM pipelines and stages. Pipelines and stages are the backbone of CRM in Velastria, the journey a patient takes from first inquiry to booked surgery. This video walks you through configuring them and using them day to day. Before we touch any settings, let's get the language right. A pipeline is a journey, the steps a patient takes from first getting in touch with you through to their surgery being completed. A stage is one step on that journey. A typical surgery pipeline goes enquiry, then consultation booked, then quote sent, then surgery booked, then completed. You can run as many pipelines as you like side by side, one for surgery inquiries, one for filler inquiries, one for medical legal cases. To configure your pipelines, start by hovering Setup in the top navigation. The Setup menu is where everything to do with how Velastria is configured lives. Your people, your locations, your preferences, your integrations. At the bottom of the menu, you'll see All Settings that takes you to the Setup hub, and the CRM Settings tile lives there. We'll jump straight to it now so you can see the page itself. Here it is, the CRM Settings page. Each block on this page is one pipeline. You can see Velastria has already seeded a starter pipeline for you called Inquiry to Consultation. Inside that block, the table is the list of stages, the columns you'll see on your Kanban board. And each row is one stage with its order, its color, its name, its probability, and its service level target. Let's go through what each column on a stage means, because this matters. Order, that's the left to right position of the column on the Kanban board. Color, the top border of the column and the hue on each card. Stage name, what it's called. Probability, a rough percentage chance that a lead sitting in this stage will eventually convert into a booked surgery. And service level target, how many hours a lead is allowed to sit in this stage before Velastria flags it as overdue. The probability number does a clever thing. Velastria multiplies the quoted value of each lead by the probability of the stage it's sitting in. That gives you what's called a weighted pipeline value. A £6,000 quote at the inquiry stage, where the probability is maybe 10%, only counts as £600 in your pipeline. As that lead progresses and the probability rises, the weighted value climbs. That's how you forecast revenue honestly, instead of pretending every inquiry is going to convert. Service level targets, SLAs for short, are how you make sure leads don't go cold. If you say no, inquiry should sit unread for more than 4 hours, set the SLA on the inquiry stage to 4. Velastria will then color the card amber, then red, as it approaches and passes that target, so your patient coordinator can see at a glance who needs chasing right now. Let's add a second pipeline. Scroll to the bottom. There's a dashed box marked Add Pipeline. Type a name, then click Add Pipeline. Velastria creates the new pipeline immediately. We'll call ours Filler Inquiries. And there it is, ready for you to add stages to. A brand new pipeline starts empty. No stages yet, so the next job is to define the steps that make up the journey. Scroll down to the new pipeline block. Underneath the stages table, there's a row to add a new stage, a name field, a color swatch, a probability percentage, and an Add Stage button. Let's add a first stage called Initial Contact, in green at 10% probability. Let's add another one. We'll call this one Booked in amber, at 50% probability. Because a patient who's actually got a filler appointment booked is much more likely to follow through than one who's just inquired. And now you've got a working pipeline with 2 stages. In real life, you'd add a few more. Maybe treatment plan sent, treatment done, follow-up complete. But you can see how quickly you can lay out the journey that suits your clinic. Every field on a stage is editable in place. You just click into it, type a new value, and click out. The save happens automatically. Let's nudge the probability on the second stage up to 60%. Click out of the field, and Velastria saves the change quietly in the background. On every pipeline and every stage, you'll find buttons to deactivate and to delete. Deactivating hides something from day-to-day use without losing the historical data. Useful when you retire a pipeline, but you still want the closed leads in the system. Delete removes the pipeline or stage and all its data permanently. Velastria will ask you to confirm before it does anything destructive. Setup's only half the story. The whole point of pipelines and stages is that they drive your day-to-day CRM work. Let's go see them in action. Hover CRM in the top navigation and open the CRM Dashboard. Click CRM Dashboard. At the top of the dashboard, you'll see tabs, one for every active pipeline. The number on each tab is how many open leads it's holding. Click a tab to switch the board to that pipeline's stages. Each pipeline gets its own Kanban view. Each column on this board is one stage, and the order, the colors, and the probabilities you see here are exactly the ones you set up a moment ago in CRM Settings. The number at the top of each column is the lead count. Underneath, you'll see the probability you set. That's the same number Velastria uses to weight the pipeline value KPI up at the top. Each card is one lead, the patient's name, the procedure they're inquiring about, how long they've been sitting in this stage, who their patient coordinator is. And if Velastria has a conversion prediction for the lead, you'll see that too, a quick read on how likely they are to convert based on what we know about them so far. To move a lead through the pipeline, you just drag and drop it. Pick up a card, drop it on the next column, and Velastria records the transition, updates the days in stage clock, and applies any automations you've wired up to that stage. No forms, no menus, just drag and go. Watch the color of the cards as well as the column. If a card starts to turn amber, that lead is approaching the service level target you set in CRM Settings. Red means the target's been breached. Somebody needs to act on it now. It's the simplest way to make sure no lead goes cold while you're busy. And up at the top of the dashboard, you've got your KPIs, active leads, today's tasks, pipeline value, win rate, and overdue. The pipeline value figure is the one we talked about earlier, every open lead's quoted value, multiplied by the probability of the stage it's sitting in. That's your honest forecast. That's pipelines and stages. The setup happens once in CRM Settings. Name your pipelines, define each stage, set its color, its probability, and its service level target. Then on the CRM dashboard, every lead lives on the Kanban board in the stage you've put it in. Drag cards through the journey as leads progress, watch the colors to spot overdue work, and trust the weighted pipeline value to forecast your revenue. You can run as many pipelines as your practice needs. Surgery, fillers, medical, legal, all side by side, each with its own stages.